Hi everyone. After what has been a fairly decent week with some quite nice weather, some dry weather at times and also some sunny spells, we have been seeing some much frostier weather over the last couple of days, but it has been quite pleasant to get out and about. As the week progresses this week, it looks like it's going to start off reasonably well. I mean, there's going to be a bit of rain tomorrow morning, which is a follow-on really from what we've had this evening, and it's going to start off quite mild. Temperature's 11.1 degrees at the moment, and it will stay like that. But as we head through the week, things will start to get a lot colder again, and with the potential of some wintry weather later in the week. So, as always, we'll start off with the synoptic chart showing the areas of high and low pressure, and we've overlaid the atmosphere. So this is the atmosphere above the Earth's surface, so quite some distance up, a good few thousand feet up. And the reason we use the temperatures at this level, it gives a much clearer indication of what the type of airflow, what type of air mass we are in. Because it has much less influence from the variation you see between night and day temperatures, so it's a bit more consistent really. So it's very, very useful to use these maps. So what we can see as we move through the next few days, the blue starts to come back. I have to forgive these extra H's and L's here, which is the high and low pressure areas. The model's been a little bit glitchy on the system here, but if you can see through that, you can see that we've got this system, this area of low pressure, with actually quite a lot of warm air really associated with it, trying to move its way towards us as we move through Wednesday into Thursday. Now, this is where it gets a bit complicated, because some of the models put this low pressure area here, some of them put it a little bit further north, some of them put it a bit further south. Now, so with the American model here, it pretty much tries to run through the English Channel, and you can see that the milder air briefly, we'll go back one frame, the milder air briefly reaches southern England. So with this it would be quite mild with quite a lot of rain falling as we move through Thursday and into Friday, but then turning much colder as these blues return, perhaps turning a little bit wintry with some sleet or snow on the back edge before it turns quite cold for the weekend. And then it does look like staying mostly dry through Saturday and probably into Sunday, although Sunday's a bit of a question at the moment, and that's quite a way off. Now let's compare this model with the German model that we actually use probably a little bit more than the American model, as we find the accuracy is somewhat higher. And as we run through it, you can see pretty much the same thing happens. We have this milder air moving away, but then as we move in towards Thursday, you can see the difference here. So we'll go back a couple of frames again, or 3 frames. You can see these areas of low pressure out here to the west. The one down here to the south is actually slightly further south than it is on the American model. And as it moves through, it doesn't really introduce the warmer air, the milder air. So things stay quite cold. In fact, it turns really, really quite cold as the low pressure departs. And that will have a difference in what will be falling out of the sky. And then even as we move in towards Sunday, it's still fairly chilly across the UK, and especially down here in the south. So let's run through the rest of tonight and into tomorrow. You can see this rain moving through, and it will come and go. It'll be on and off. There'll be some dry spells, but towards the early hours of the morning, it'll get a bit heavier again before clearing tomorrow morning, really around mid-morning, we're thinking. And then it could be another area of rain, possibly a bit of a band of moderate rainfall moving down from the north as we move in towards tomorrow afternoon for a time. And then it's behind this that things change. So you can actually see it here. With these temperatures during the morning, you can see they're actually quite mild. We'll overlay the wind arrows as well. You can see they're coming in from the west at this point, but you can see it's still 10, 11, maybe even 12 degrees in the far south coast of the island. But then watch what happens as we move through the rest of the morning. It starts to get colder from the north, and then by late afternoon, you see these much darker colours, or much more green colours coming through, which is showing the temperatures dropping away to around 4 to 6 degrees Celsius. So it will certainly be turning much colder. And if we have a quick look at the winds as well, you can see the winds are going to be moderate to fresh tomorrow from the west at first, moving around to the northwest later, and then really staying into the north to northwest as we move through into Tuesday. Now Tuesday looks like it will be a dry day. Already from the early hours of the morning it will be dry. And you can see these areas of cloud moving through. So there will be some patchy cloud at times, but you can see these clearer spells here, and that shows that there will be some potentially some sunny spells, especially as we move into Tuesday afternoon. And you can also see with these slightly clearer skies, the temperatures are still going to be fairly chilly at times. And they will be sitting around 6 or 7 degrees Celsius, possibly closer to 8 around the coast, but generally 6 to 7 degrees Celsius by early afternoon. Then as we move into Tuesday night, you can see that the cloud, it looks like, starts to increase, but this is actually fog. So it could actually be some very widespread fog on Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. And we can see that here as we look at this map for the early hours of Wednesday morning. This is 6 a.m. So, you know, look at this. The visibility over the majority of southern England is very poor indeed. So it's going to be some very dense fog around. And with the temperatures being so low, we are likely to see some freezing fog patches, which will be coating the roads in and trees and bushes and cars and whatever else in quite a lot of thick ice. So yes, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning looks very cold with a lot of fog around, and it's something that we probably will be putting out a warning for maybe on Tuesday morning if things are still looking this way. Another thing about Wednesday will be the winds. They'll be very, very light, especially at first. So you can see these very light, almost calm really, breezes coming in from the north. And they stay pretty much with us through the day. The winds stay very light indeed through Wednesday daytime. And this also means that the temperatures will stay relatively low as well. So if we look into Wednesday daytime, the temperatures 3 to 5 degrees Celsius, but possibly staying closer to freezing where any fog lingers. Then as we look towards later on Wednesday evening, we start to see the winds, they begin to come round into the south. You can see here, and you can see these areas of rainfall start to move up towards us. Now this is where it does begin to get a bit complicated, because you can see the temperatures are rising quite significantly, 5, 6, 7 degrees right down here on the coast. But then, oops, we overlay the wrong one, there we go. And but then as we move through into Thursday, we can see that area of rain move further north for a time before swinging back south. Now we can actually get a closer look with this, or overlay the snow maps. And yes, you did hit that correctly. It was snow maps that I said. But the island, it doesn't look like at the moment we would be likely to see any snow. This is at the moment how it's looking right now. So snow will likely be across the mainland, although a bit more down towards the east and southeast here. It will be the wind will be coming in off the North Sea, and this will be keeping this southeast corner a little bit milder, and we're part of that. So chances are we probably wouldn't really see much in the way of snow. And then as we move through in towards Friday morning, you can see these areas of rain starting to pull back into the channel, and as they do so, there's a higher chance of them turning to snow for a time on Friday morning perhaps. We may see a little bit falling as they move south. It doesn't look like there'd be anything on the ground, although there is a small chance of a slight dusting over the highest hills. At least that's how it's looking at the moment, and that is based on the German model that we use. In comparison, the American model, should I say, it doesn't look like this will be happening, and with that model the snow looks like it would be much further north, and perhaps turning a bit sleety with wintry on the back edge. So that's where it's at the moment. So not a very easy forecast really for the end of the week, because we are very uncertain how things will pan out. But at the moment, it certainly looks like it will be rather cold through this week, especially from the middle of the week onwards. And there certainly is the potential of some wintry weather, especially with the freezing fog on Wednesday morning, and then perhaps the chance of some sleet or wet snow over high ground on Thursday and perhaps into Friday. Although, of course, as always, and as we always say, we'll let you know a little bit more a bit closer to the time and as things develop. So anyway, that's it for now. Goodbye.